All right, coming up after this on a loaded Zach Lowe Show, we're going to go in a lot of different directions, but we have to start with Pablo Torre, who just keeps on finding out. Dropped a new podcast this morning with fresh details connecting the Clippers and Steve Ballmer's college roommate to the shady company Aspiration that paid Kawhi Leonard a lot of money to do a lot of nothing in 2022. And it's unclear how much money he actually got because he's still kind of a creditor of this fraudulent company. But, Board of Governors met yesterday. Adam Silver talked about the importance of this investigation, how he's going to approach it. We'll discuss that. Adam Silver's remarks, some of which struck me as a little bit surprising, frankly, and how the whole thing, I think, changes because of what Pablo dropped today, including my prediction for how this is going to unfold. Then we're going to shift gears. Some guy named Bill Simmons is going to come on. Eurobasket is happening, and it's got me thinking about the 2028 Olympics, how it's going to be a little harder for Team USA, how some of our old holdovers who carried us even in 2024 in Paris might not be there. We're going to pick our ideal Team USA roster for 2028. Bill's a big international basketball guy. It'll be fun. And then Mets Corner. It's not going to be pleasant. Mets Corner. But we got to do it. That's part of being a sports fan. The pain, the agony, all of that. And that's Big Wos' by the way, debut on Mets Corner. All of that coming up after this on the Zach Lowe Show. This episode of the Zach Lowe Show is presented by HubSpot. Using only 20% of your business data is like going from a starting 5 to a starting 1. Good luck with that. But that's how most businesses operate today, using only 20% of their data, unless you have HubSpot, where all the data hidden in emails, call logs, and chat messages turns into insights to grow your business, because having all the data makes all the difference. Learn more at HubSpot.com. Welcome to the Zach Lowe Show, where it's time to say the 3 most anticipated words in niche basketball podcasting. Pablo Torre found... Wait, that's too many words. Pablo Torre found out something new. Wait a second. It's what up, Beck? How are you, sir?
What up? There's too much up. There's a lot of things up. We have way too many up things to talk about. Pablo, Adam Silver, Uncle Dennis, so much going on.
So... Pablo Torre dropped another episode of his podcast today where he uncovered new information linking Steve Ballmer's college roommate and apparently minority investor, 1% owner of the Clippers, an investment vehicle that Dennis Wong, that's his name, controls, to Aspiration, the sham tree planting or whatever it was supposed to be company that paid Kawhi Leonard or agreed to pay Kawhi Leonard a preposterous amount of money to do nothing. We will get into the details of Pablo's new episode. You had a chance to listen to it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is now my 3rd episode on this burgeoning scandal because it is that important, and I don't mean that in a pro-clutching Reverend Lovejoy way, like think of the children. It's just important for the integrity of the league. It's all the league is talking about. No one is talking about anything. Josh Giddey, sorry, no one is talking about your contract. I will, but no one else is. On the first one I did with Kurt Goldsberry, Howard, you might remember I brought up, this was the first day of this, I brought up this clause in the CBA about circumstantial evidence and how the league apparently has pretty strong leeway to infer cap circumvention or unauthorized agreements, as it's called in the CBA, through circumstantial evidence. And I talked to a number of lawyers who are like, circumstantial evidence kind of gets shit on as like not good evidence. It's actually quite good and useful evidence in criminal trials and civil trials and regular trials. Like it's a real thing. And I talked to them and they said, and they told me like, look, you can nitpick. This clause says the circumstantial evidence has to hit these 2 check marks, and this clause says it has to hit these 2 check marks. Forget that. It's a very elastic language in the CBA. And the more lawyers I talked to, team lawyers, independent lawyers, scholars, etc., they were like, basically Adam Silver can do whatever he wants. That's where we are here. And so I said on that very first episode, if I'm reading this clause right, there are people around the league who will already tell you that just the stuff in Pablo's first episode was enough to hit that bar of circumstantial evidence. And for the league to hit the clip. Now, and I said, I'm not sure, I'm not a lawyer, but for these people are telling me that looks like enough for the league to hit the Clippers with something between a Joe Smith mega penalty and the nothing slaps on the risks that teams are getting for like, low level tampering, let alone the Jalen Brunson kind of tampering. And then I talked to more people and read more stuff. And the circumstantial evidence, by the way, just to remind people what that is, it's an enormously above market deal, like more than people get for sneaker deals from a tree planting company, that the deal was never announced. Kawhi had to do no work. It was explicitly said in the deal he had to do no work. And it turned out that this tree planting company, Aspiration, had many financial entanglements with Steve Balmer and the Clippers. Steve Balmer had invested $50 million in the company 3 or 4 months or 5 months before Kawhi set up an LLC to receive money from that company. And that company, Aspiration, had struck a massive sponsorship deal with the Clippers and apparently wanted naming rights on Inuit Dome as well, according to Ramona Shelburne. And I've verified that with other sources within the Clippers. And so, I said, like, without direct evidence, my prediction was, I said, this is the second episode I did with Michael McCann, who's a legal expert, a sports law expert. I said, my prediction, if they don't find a smoking gun or direct evidence, is going to be a second round pick and a big fine, like $1 million fine. And I was already in the process of revising that prediction because I talked to more people in the intervening days, and I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger than that. And then this episode comes out. Look, people are still digesting what has happened in this episode. Do you want me to go over the particulars in brief, or do you want to do it?
No, go for it. I've jotted down a few things, but yeah, I'm sure you've got it all laid out.
This is all fresh. We all just listened to this. We all just watched it. And Pablo just has lots of stuff. Like, he's getting lots of stuff. And this is what happens when you dig in on a story. More stuff comes out, and he's probably got more stuff in reserve. But basically, this company, Aspiration, is going bankrupt in late 2022. 6 months or so after they have struck this 4-year, $28 million no-show deal with Kawhi. And they have a list of creditors that they need to pay, one of whom is the Kawhi Leonard Aspire LLC. And they somehow, as the company is flailing about and struggling to pay, according to an anonymous employee that Pablo interviewed, struggling to like make rent, struggling to pay salaries to their employees, and they're about to lay them all off, they pay Kawhi Leonard $1.75 million. Then he finds documentation, Pablo does, of an incoming payment of $1.99 million and 59 cents, $1,999,999.59 from a mysterious LLC into Aspiration a week or so before the Kawhi payment. And it turns out that LLC is controlled by Dennis Wong, who is Steve Ballmer's is the vice chair of the Clippers. And he has a new, Pablo does, anonymous Aspiration employee who talks about how we all knew that this was part of a cap circumvention scheme, that those words are anonymously on the record, I guess. And we were shocked, and this payment is shocking that it would happen at this stage of our company. So that is the new stuff. And now, Howard, I'm prepared to be wrong on my prediction of a second round pick and $1 million fine. Because although I have legal experts saying you still have to be cautious about this, and I'll read some statements from them later, I just think this thing now stinks so badly that even if there is no further smoking gun, even if this is never linked directly to Steve Ballmer, even if he could say, well, Dennis did this, I didn't know. Aspiration did this, I didn't know. I'm Steve Ballmer, I run the Clippers. Lawrence Frank didn't know. Whoever else didn't know. I just think the circumstantial evidence, if this is all borne out, right? And we should point out that nothing that Pablo has reported has been refuted at all by the Clippers, by Steve Ballmer, by anybody. That if just this is borne out, this is enough circumstantial evidence to me to hit them with a major penalty. Not a Joe Smith penalty, and I'm going to talk about why I think that, because Joe Smith was 5 first-round picks down to 3. But also not the token slap on the wrist second round pick fine. Like a first round pick, it would be my revised prediction, maybe even more draft compensation than that. Because look, I just can't think of I'm running the plausible deniability defense that the Clippers are building is crumbling brick by brick. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your take before we get more into it?
I absolutely agree, and it's because of not one thing, there's a combination of things here, but if Steve Ballmer felt comfortable enough to go on with Ramona Shelburne last week and give his plausible deniability, I just invested. I got scammed. These people are scammers. This is what happened. I made an introduction of Kawhi Leonard to the company, but then I have nothing to do with it from there. And that's normal practice in the NBA, which it is. There's the outline of your plausible deniability. The time that he did it, I actually thought, wow, if he's confident enough to go on TV with Ramona and talk about this openly and give his explanation for where his relationship begins and ends, presumably with aspiration, and why I don't have any knowledge of or involvement with this scheme to pay Kawhi. If he's that confident to do that, maybe it's because he knows if the Clippers were guilty of this, but they know that there is no smoking gun. There's no document. There's no email. There's no text. There's no voicemail. There's nothing to link them to it. We did this so well. Again, presuming guilt for a moment. If you were guilty, but you were comfortable enough going on TV, it's because, in my mind, you're confident enough there's nothing there to actually link you to it. But Pablo Torre's disclosure in today's podcast, where it's the minority owner, the 1% owner, Steve Ballmer's old college roommate, according to Pablo as well, who gave them $2 million at the time that they needed to pay Kawhi 1.75 and had no money. That points straight back to the Clippers right there, right? This is not this is not some other rogue agent, somebody outside of the Clippers providing the $2 million to then funnel to Kawhi Leonard. This is a Clippers executive, a Clippers owner, their alternate governor to the Board of Governors has done this. And at that point, I feel like all the plausible deniability, again, if all this bears out, if it's all proven, the plausible deniability to me then goes out the window on behalf of the Clippers, because if the whole game is, can you prove a linkage between the Clippers and Aspiration's scheme to pay Kawhi? That's the cap circumvention, right? If Aspiration truly did this on their own, it's hard to say it's cap circumvention. It's when it's directed by the team is, I think, the key aspect of this. And I feel like the involvement of the 1% owner, alternate governor, Dennis Wong, and by the way, again, Pablo Torre's report says that Dennis Wong's daughter worked for Aspiration. Like I'm sorry, it's way too clear of a link now for anybody to downplay or dismiss. And I was with you. I was fairly cautious on this. And I thought there was a scenario where it would be like, yeah, it looks bad, but we couldn't prove it to our own satisfaction. I will say one other thing before we move on, which is that as convincing, as compelling as all this is to us in the public, right? And Pablo joked about, being the court of podcast, or, court of public opinion in the podcast. Obviously, the NBA has to find those same former Aspiration employees and have them tell them the same thing. And even then, one might say that that's hearsay. How do they know it was intended for cap circumvention? At some point, I do think you need somebody who can say, I was directed to do this by this guy, and this guy was told by somebody from the Clippers that we needed to do it on their. You know what I mean? Like, I am curious if there's a direct linkage.
If they need to, we'll see if they need the direct linkage because I think that verbiage of circumstantial evidence in the CBA can be interpreted as broadly as the commissioner wants it to be interpreted.
And he basically said as much.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about what he said. Just on the Balmer interview, I said on my podcast on Monday with Michael McCann, I thought that interview was a mistake. I didn't understand why he did it. It didn't move the needle for me at all. I understood the idea of, the optics being he would never do this if they were guilty at all. I didn't. It came off to me as vanilla and wishy-washy, and I didn't understand why he did it. Now, you were at the Board of Governors yesterday. I could not go because of a childcare snafu. My fault. I take full blame for the childcare snafu. But it turned out Adam didn't say much of anything. A couple of things that was interesting he did say. He went out of his way, and the Clippers were encouraged by this initially. Now, this was before Pablo's episode came out, to say that the burden of proof remains on the league and the law firm Wachtell that's investigating the Clippers, and not the Clippers, and that he was going to essentially proceed as if this was like litigation, like you're innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the investigating party.
Yeah.
And I had very first thing I did on this podcast was quote a GM saying to me that there's already enough in episode 1 of Pablo to put the Clippers have to explain what happened here in a way that is satisfactory to me. I think that's even doubly true today in light of episode number 2 of Pablo's investigation. It's interesting that Adam said that. I wonder if he would revise that statement. But he also said, and I will quote, I would be reluctant to act if there was a sort of mere appearance of impropriety. And apropos of that, I will just read a statement that from Gabe Feldman, who's a sports law expert and professor at Tulane, one of the leading sports law programs in the country, who I've known for a long time. Here was his reaction on the record to Pablo's thing today, which is okay, I'll just read it. There is a lot of smoke, but we only have one side of the story so far. The league obviously believes that the allegations are substantial enough to engage a high-powered law firm to investigate, but the league has to take these allegations seriously because there is very little that is more important to the integrity of the game than the sanctity of the spending restrictions in the CBA. It's too early to reach any conclusions until we hear the justifications for the transactions, aka the Dennis Wong deals that were unearthed today. Here's Michael McCann's statement to me, the same law professor I had on who's teaching at Harvard and University of New Hampshire. If there is a provable connection between the Wong payment and Kawhi being paid, it's a big problem. But to me, it seems that the NBA won't find wrongdoing unless the dots are connected with reliable evidence. I think the difference between what is reportable by the media and what the NBA finds sufficiently reliable are two different standards. And while the former has been met, we don't know about the latter. Like, this is what lawyers are going to do. They're going to lawyer this up. They're going to say, like, we got to get everything as buttoned up as possible. I just cannot believe that if nothing else hard emerges, I just cannot believe that the NBA does not act at all here. I just think the rage from the other 29 teams, the basketball people are angrier than the ownership people, but a lot of people are angry. I think they just can't. I would be shocked. I'm not a legal expert. I just can't imagine a scenario where the Clippers skirt any sort of sanction here unless revelations come out that just sort of disprove everything that we know already. And so and now I'm at the point where my second round pick and $1 million fine. And by the way, that was other people were like lower than me on that in some circles. I think that's going to be low. This thing just stinks. It stinks. And there's just too much of a, I don't know if you call this a paper trail, but this payment, these bank statements that Pablo has, the Clippers minority owner, it's like the fact that this tree planting company paid him, Kawhi, to do nothing, didn't even announce the deal, didn't publicize it at all. Yeah. It just stinks, man. It stinks. It does. And again, the involvement now of the 1% owner of the Clippers in this other payment that is timed almost exactly when they needed to pay, when Aspiration needed to pay Kawhi. Like, it really, 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 really looks bad. It all looked bad already. But I do think that is a more direct linkage than what we knew previously. And what the NBA is going to be looking for, presumably, what Wachtell Lipton is going to be looking for on their behalf is more direct linkages and a much more comprehensive investigation than what even Pablo and his crew can do, because the NBA has the ability to compel the Clippers to turn over records, which Pablo cannot do. On the flip side of that, Pablo was able to cultivate the relationships and the trust with these former Aspiration employees who were willing to talk to him. They have no obligation, as far as I know, to talk to the NBA and its investigators. They could stonewall them if they wanted to. I don't know why they would. At this point, it seems like people are pretty willing to talk about this whole scheme, so they probably will. But I do wonder what else might be unearthed, right? We have some version of the picture here. Adam Silver, you and I have both known him a long time, Zach. And I wrote about this on theringer.com the other day, just kind of an FAQ where I'm asking myself questions to then answer them to try to explain where things are and where things might go, and based on a bunch of conversations I had with people around the league and everything else. But one of the things I was trying to get across in that piece is that Adam Silver, from everything we know of him and everything that everybody in the league knows of him, he's pretty cautious on these matters, right? He is a lawyer by trade, and he is cautious by temperament, and he is going to do and say the kinds of things we heard from him yesterday. I was the one who asked the question about, is the burden of proof on you as the league or on the Clippers to prove their innocence? And he says, no, the burden's on the league. If we're going to discipline a team or an owner or a player, he says the burden should be on the party that is in essence bringing those charges. When does that change? Because this isn't a court of law. Like, when do you just to change the standard if you're Adam Silver? Now, I think. So it was interesting, though. So as he goes on in his answer,
He does note that in a public-facing sport, again, I'm quoting, the public at times reaches conclusions that later turn out to be completely false. He's right. Sometimes we don't have the full picture,
Absolutely.
And that's why you have an investigation. He does say, as a matter of fundamental fairness, as you noted, I would be reluctant to act if there was a mere appearance of impropriety. So he goes through all these things, saying the things that I kind of expected, knowing how Adam generally thinks and approaches these things. But then at the very end, his very last sentence in this answer was, the answer is we're not a court of law at the end of the day either, and that we have broad authority to look at all information and to weigh it accordingly. So on the one hand, he is stipulating we want to prove the case as strongly as possible, as convincingly as possible, to our own satisfaction, to the satisfaction of the other members of the Board of Governors, everything. On the other hand, he is noting he has broad powers, and he's got the authority to do this, and they're not a court of law, so they don't have to abide by any particular statutes about a degree of proof, right? So it's all there, but yeah, he was not going to prejudge anything. I will just say this. So I was thinking about this a lot after I left there yesterday. I feel like Adam, and you kind of alluded to this, Zach, Adam has two possibly competing considerations when you're weighing punishment. What does he feel justified doing based on the evidence that Wachtell Lipton find over the next coming months? Like, what's the threshold? What's sufficient to punish the Clippers, and to punish them severely, perhaps? Do you need the so-called smoking gun? And what does that look like? Is it a text or an email from a Clippers executive to Aspiration saying, this is what we're going to do, or this is what we need you to do? How much do you need? Like, he has broad powers to discipline, yes, and the CBA does say circumstantial evidence, all this, but he errs on the side of caution. He's going to want to be airtight in his view to hammer them. So that's consideration number one. What does he feel comfortable? What does he need to feel comfortable punishing them severely? But number two is the whole court of a public opinion part of this. Like, what does he feel needs to be done to protect the league's integrity? Like, other teams have seen enough to render judgment, right? Especially front offices. Fans and the public at large have seen enough to conclude that the Clippers are guilty. And so in the court of public opinion, it's already game over and the Clippers got blown out. And so Adam has to weigh what he thinks is sufficient to punish them versus what he thinks is sufficient to also ensure the appearance of integrity or reassure people of the league's integrity, right? So like, I think both of these things are coming into play eventually, not right now because the investigation is just beginning. But I do think that the last thing Adam can do, especially after the new disclosures by Pablo Torre, Adam can't be Frank Drebin standing in front of the fireworks warehouse exploding saying nothing to see here. Like, there is a lot to see here, and everybody
Can he be Enrico Palazzo?
I would, if Adam wants to sing the national anthem at a baseball game, or umpire, I should say, that same baseball game. Just don't get caught in a rundown. That's the key. Don't get caught in a rundown.
All right,
if you're the umpire.
So, first of all, in a you can't make this up situation, Pablo is correct that Balmer chairs the audit committee of the Board of Governors, number one. Number two, he might need to abdicate that one for a bit. Number two, yeah. I don't know what the regulations are if abdication is contemplated in the NBA Constitution. I want to, number two, in you can't make this up. I'm texting with a bunch of team attorneys and team presidents yesterday about this, people who this is really in their wheelhouse, and calling them and stuff. One of them says, "You'll never believe where I'm going right now." And I said, "Where?" And he said, "Los Angeles." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because the Clippers are hosting a conference of all the team attorneys right now. So they're all going to a pre-scheduled Clippers conference." Okay, number three, just apropos of, I don't want to reiterate, just like how this era has gone for the Clippers. Kawhi played an average of 44 games per season over the last 6 seasons. Number four, I was talking to a team attorney, a very high-level team executive / attorney yesterday about what punishment could happen here, even if nothing else comes out. Because I had posited that there was this middle ground, a broad middle ground between Joe Smith, death penalty, and second-round pick, token slap on the wrist. And this person's point was compelling to me. It was interesting to me. He said, I get what you're saying about the middle ground, because this is going to be, if this ends up being a gray-ish area, whether it's dark gray, light gray, whatever, it's going to kind of be an unprecedented situation for the league. If there's no document in a drawer like there was with Joe Smith, it's going to be an interesting situation for them. But he said, if you punish them at all, you're essentially saying that they circumvented the cap. Circumventing the cap, the punishments for that are established in the CBA and by precedent, like Joe Smith. Like, if you circumvent, if you're punished, that means you circumvented the cap. If you circumvented the cap, this is what the punishment has been historically. He said you can't like accidentally, there's no such thing as accidental circumvention of the cap. Like there's no, like this idea, like I look at this and I'm like, at the very least, this is like a complete mess of bad diligence, sloppy deal making, shady things. And even if you can't directly say it's circumvention, you should be able to levy some punishment for just being a freaking mess and being too loosey-goosey with all this. And this guy was like, no, that's not a thing. You either circumvent the cap or you don't. And I do think there's a middle ground level punishment between those two poles. But I thought that was interesting. And I legit, like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Every day we're finding new stuff out. But this one today is on its face not good for the Clippers, not the least of which is, like, I don't want to get into the CBA stuff. I've overdone it. But there's this language in there about team affiliates paying or making unauthorized agreements with players. I looked up the technical definition of that. I don't know how that dovetails with this LLC investment vehicle, whatever it is, controlled by Dennis Wong. That would seem to, at the very least, verge onto being a team affiliate with a 1% owner of a team having an investment vehicle that does this with the sponsor. Like, it just is another check mark of, yeah, so I don't know, but I thought that was an interesting sort of take on what the punishment should be.
I did have one other thought, just kind of, it was an in-the-moment brainstorm, and I threw it at a couple of league people yesterday before I left the Board of Governors and just the kind of the post-game milling about after Adam's presser. And I asked, and this does not exist, and I wonder if it's reasonable for it to exist. It seems to me like, given this particular example, Zach, the league should have, in its massive staff of people in Midtown at the Olympic Tower, why isn't there a division? Maybe it's a combination of their accounting and marketing and legal staffs that vets all outside player endorsement contracts, or at least those that are involving team sponsors. Why isn't there a clearinghouse where you sign a deal? Great. Everything has to be on the record. And especially, again, if it's as it was in this case, Aspiration was a Clippers partner of sorts. They were a sponsor. Those things happen all the time. Rakuten with the Warriors. Rakuten sponsors Steph Curry. He does commercials. Why don't those contracts go to the league for vetting so that they can go through? And if that were the case, they would see, wait, Kawhi Leonard doesn't have to do anything for this money. Sorry, no, this has never happened. And then in that case, it's probably never being submitted. Why isn't there a league clearinghouse for that? Or alternately, John Hollinger had a great piece in The Athletic yesterday where he was talking about, using the NCAA phrase about
institutional control.
Institutional control. Could the league instead put this on the teams and say, listen, this is on you. It's your house. These are your players. These are your sponsors, your partners. You have a division combining your legal and accounting and marketing folks. Vet everything. And if you see something untoward that is potentially illegal, flag it and send it to us, or tell the player as representation, no, you can't do that. You're going to get us in trouble. And if it's on the teams, then if you've created that statute or that process, then you can't plead ignorance anymore. Oh, we didn't know this was going on. Sorry, we've already put it in the Constitution and bylaws in the CBA that it is on you, and you have to be on top of all this. And if not, it is lack of institutional control, and we can hammer you for that. And then the teams would lean on the agents and the players and their uncles and anybody else who was involved to do things above board, because if not, it's all our asses. And so there needs to be a mechanism for checking these kinds of deals so that you cannot have a no-show deal in the first place. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing. It would require, obviously, not just the Board of Governors signing off on it, but I'm certain the Players Association would have to be involved as well, because it involves player compensation. But it seems to me that the league, in reaction to all of this, once this is all concluded, needs to do more than just whatever they're going to do with regard to the Clippers and discipline. They need to actually tighten some things up with this.
So Michael McCann mentioned that to me 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whenever I'd had him on. I think something like that will happen. Now, the teams don't want that because it's more responsibility for them.
Yeah,
it has to be
shit.
collectively bargained with the players' union because the players' union wants the players to have as much unfettered access to money as to deals as possible. So that's interesting. The other interesting thing here is, the Clippers have gotten control of a couple of future first-round picks by just waiting out the pain of the Paul George deal. Their last obligation is 2029 for first-round picks, a swap with Philadelphia. It's like, if this is going to hang over their head all season, I was talking to a GM, he's like, did they just trade all their tradable picks now to use them to get players in fear that the league is going to seize picks in the future? Or are they just sort of like frozen, like we just can't really do anything? Or if they did trade picks, would the league to be like, we can take your 2034 pick if it gets to that point, or we can just like disregard the Stepien rule for you and take whatever. It's just an interesting sort of side plot. Another thing, Nate Jones, who's been a voice of caution on this, did tweet this, and I just want to mention it that while Kawhi was listed as a critical creditor around the time he got the $1.75 million payment that's at issue in today's episode, after the $1.9999999 million payment from Dennis Wong's investment vehicle apparently came in, the Clippers are also listed themselves as a critical creditor. So I don't really know what to make of that, but it's something. And it's just like a couple other things. I heard from a couple people who have dealt with Balmer before on endorsement deals, and they were like, he was careful, like, to vet that this was okay. I just that's not a defense. That's not a on its face defense anymore. There's just too much smoke out there. Same for how does this line up with Kawhi's contract? He had already signed in 2021. This deal is not until April 2022. Then he resigns again. But there's enough smoke now that the timing stuff, I'm just dismissing it because it could just be like we just sort of like perpetually kept Kawhi Leonard happy, and this is maybe like how it was done, whether Balmer knew or whoever knew or not. So those things are no longer kind of persuasive to me. And now I think we just wait. Now it's gonna be a long time. This law firm's gonna go to work. Pablo keeps finding stuff out. They'll find stuff out, and it gets harder and harder to believe that they're gonna get off. Not only just not scot-free, but not with a slap on the wrist.
Absolutely agree. And I, like you, had been kind of cautious from the beginning about looks bad, but what's provable, what's not, is there deniability, what will investigation find or not find, all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, today's edition from Pablo was just, that's really damning. It was all damning before, to be very, very clear. But I thought it was damning with just enough ambiguity that maybe you could say, well, if the Clippers weren't involved, well, now the Clippers were definitely involved, assuming that everything that was reported in the latest version of Pablo's show is found by the league as well. And I believe that they will find probably much more than that. But yeah, for practical purposes, Zach, unless Pablo or ESPN, The Athletic, anybody else, unless anybody's uncovering anything else new, I think this kind of moves to the back burner for a while. Adam has now addressed it. He probably won't address it publicly again for some time. Until
it was interesting how not only he actually kind of went out of his way yesterday to say, we didn't talk about it much in Board of Governors because I kind of preemptively told the other owners we're not talking about this, table all this, which is like, really? You just walked in and said that?
Not only that, Zach, not only that, but I think this is the first time I've ever attended a commissioner press conference, whether David Stern back in the day or Adam Silver now, where there was something of massive news importance and critical importance to the league hanging over the league, where because they always do their opening comments and then they say, and now we'll take questions, and then Tim Frank starts calling on us. Adam in his opening statements talked about, we had a really nice meeting. We had some presentations from ESPN and Amazon. We had all these, we talked about this, and we talked about that. We talked about European expansion and all this other stuff. And now we'll take questions. He did not try to address it. He did not try to introduce it. He knew damn well that, we had I think a larger contingent than usual of media folks in the room yesterday. He knew what all of our questions were going to be. He did not even say, and I know some of you may have questions about, he just didn't even address it. And then he went out of his way when he was asked. He also said about the owners, we didn't talk about it, and I pretty much shut it down. And I thought all of that was interesting. Because, I think it could have gotten pretty heated in there. But, Steve Ballmer was also there. That would be a very awkward conversation for them all to have, and especially at a time when the investigation is just now beginning. So It will go to the back burner. It does have a practical impact potentially, as you note, on the Clippers in the near term, because what do they do? What can they do? What are other teams comfortable doing with them if it involved picks? I mean, if I'm another team, I'd be like, fine, I'll take your picks now. Like the league's not taking them from me once I've got it. But I think that this is basically, it's on the back burner. It goes quiet for a while, and sometime in like March or April or something, the Walk-Tell Lipton report lands, and we all jump right back in.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, and it's ultimately going to be up to the commissioner of the league, like what to do, there's just a huge range depending on what else is found, or what might be explained / debunked. We don't know. That's why these lawyers who are experts on this are expressing caution, a little less caution in light of today, but still caution. We'll just have to see what happens. But that's my take for now. Howard Beck, read his FAQ at The Ringer. Real ones. He's going to be on group chat. He's just everywhere, Howard Beck. He's everywhere, including the Brooklyn Organic Grocery Store. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Zach.
This episode is brought to you by Samsung. If you're someone who's constantly bouncing between games, texts, notes, and stats, guilty, the new Galaxy Z Fold7 is for you. Z Fold7 basically turns into a mini tablet when it's open, so you can view up to 3 windows at once. Holy smokes. And watch the game on a wide screen from anywhere. I need that wide screen. Game over, fold it up, and it fits in your hand. Can your phone do that? The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold7. Learn more at Samsung.com. Display measurements are diagonal and actual viewable area is less due to rounded corners and camera hole punch. All right, a brief newsy interlude before we get on with the other good stuff. A couple of news items for the NBA. News item number 1. Heaves at the end of quarters are going to count as team field goal attempts instead of individual field goal attempts. I hate it. I hate it. We're letting these chicken shit players who won't shoot heaves because they're afraid of a 1.0001 reduction in their field goal percentage get off scot-free. Oh, now they're going to be able to shoot heaves. I liked exposing those players, and I liked lionizing the Steph Currys, the Nikola Jokic's, J.R. Smith back in the day, Peyton Pritchard, the guys who are like, no way, I want to win the game. And if there's a 2% chance this crazy shot is going to go in or I'll get fouled or something, I'm taking it. Forget about the guys who, I dribble. I just shot it right after the buzzer. Did I trick anyone into thinking that I just lost track of time? I hate it. Boo NBA, boo chicken players. Number 2, in-season tournaments starting in 26-27 next season. The semis will be at home games for the higher-seeded teams. Only the finals will be in Vegas. I like it. The atmosphere wasn't good enough. The tournament is bordering on, like, not irrelevant, but people care in the moment and just completely forget what happened. This will make maybe the atmosphere a little bit more memorable. I like one game in Vegas. That's good. Item number 3, the Chicago Bulls re-signed Josh Giddey, 4 years, $100 million, and they are getting clowned everywhere for it. Boy, do their fans and local media just hate this team. Every decision they make, they're like, untradeable contract. Josh Giddey stinks. He's a fraud. He's empty calories. He doesn't play defense, blah, blah, blah. I looked at the deal and I was like, it's cool. Like, good for them for not bending over backwards. I mean, this is a team that paid Patrick Williams 5 years, $90 million based on a resume of nothing. This is a team that has finally discovered that restricted free agency gives them a little bit of leverage. And they squeezed and they got Josh Giddey at a deal that Josh Giddey should be happy about given the market this year, given even the market next year with more cap space, not that much more, mostly bad teams. It's going to be 15% of the salary cap through its life. That's not nothing, but it's not like, is it untradeable? I don't know. Josh Giddey's not a bad player. He's not even 23 years old, and you can't scoff at his numbers. Like, he'll give you 16, 8, and 8 after All-Star last year. He exploded. He shot the 3 better, ended up at 38% on threes. Is that real? I don't know. Is it real in a way that matters? I don't know that either, because a lot of those are wide open, conceded by the defense. I looked it up on Second Spectrum. Average defender distance away from Josh Giddey on threes, almost 8 feet. One of the 40 biggest distances in the league among shooters who attempted at least 100 threes. Yusuf Nurkic had the biggest defender distance, by the way, just a little trivia for you. Followed by big Jalen Williams, not wing Jalen Williams, and Domantas Sabonis. Basically a bunch of centers who can't shoot threes. And most of them, almost all of them were catch and shoot threes, which, Josh Giddey is not a player designed to take catch and shoot threes. The apex version of Josh Giddey is designed to take pull-up threes because he has the ball a lot. Well, he only took 51 of those last year, 18 of 51. That's like basically nothing for a guy who has the ball that much. He was 3 of 15 on pull-up threes the year before. I mean, that's really nothing. So 18 is an improvement. And look, I've been very frank over the years about the limitations of Josh Giddey's game. It is really, really hard to be the number one ball handler on a good team. Forget the Bulls, who are not a good team. A good team if you can't shoot. Or if defensive players are going to treat you like you can't shoot. Because they're going to go under screens. They're going to wall off the paint. When you don't have the ball, they're going to ignore you. We know all of that. And there are tricks, you set re-screens and this and that. In the playoffs, all those tricks get harder to pull off because the defenses are good and they're focused on you. If you're going to be that kind of player and elevate a team to good to greatness, you have to be a monster finisher at the rim. Giddey improved his physicality and aggressiveness a little bit last year. There was a big jump in his free throws to like 4 a game almost, or 4 per 36 minutes. That's still not very many, and he is a below average finisher at the rim. You have to be an impactful defensive player. He is not an impactful defensive player. You have to get to the line a lot. He has not yet done that, although he's very fast in transition and physical in transition. So in a sort of simplistic way, he is a player that you have to have an absolutely perfect ecosystem around on both sides of the floor if he's going to be your number one ball handler. You have to have shooting everywhere. Bulls don't have that. And you have to have, at the very least, elite interior defense. And the Bulls do not have that. And they don't really have any pathway to getting that right now. We'll see what Noah Senge can give them down the line, the guy they just drafted. And if you get a better ball handler than Josh Giddey, then he becomes an off-ball player. And then his liabilities really stand out. But maybe that catch and shoot 3-point shooting is real. We'll see. And I think I think most of that analysis is fair, especially when you're thinking about what place on our organizational hierarchy does this player have? Is he our number one guy? If so, this X, Y, and Z has to happen. You can build a system that is not so static as to exist only in 2 modes. Mode number 1, Josh Giddey has the ball. Mode number 2, Josh Giddey is standing around away from the ball, totally useless. You have to build, and in fact, it's an incumbent upon you as a coaching staff to build a half-court offense that is more dynamic than that, where he shifts between on-ball and off-ball within possessions, where the machine is moving at all times so that help defenders can't load up, because he is an elite genius passer. He is big and tall and a good shooter of floater shots. He hit almost half his floater shots last year. He should be able to set screens. He should, in time, be able to develop something of a post-up game against teeny tiny defenders when they add guys onto him. And if that... He should be able to function as the second or third best player in a dynamic offense. The problem is it's very hard to build that kind of offense, and you have to have the first or second best player above him, and the Bulls don't have those. I love Buzelis. I think there's so much that he didn't even get to show us last year with what he can do on the ball. I don't know what his ceiling is. The odds are always against anyone's ceiling, drafted 11th or 12th or wherever he was drafted, being an all-NBA, multi-time all-star, number one guy in a great team. The good news for the Bulls is they have all their picks. They have a Portland pick, and they're set up to have max cap room basically for as many summers as they want, even if they re-sign Cody White, even if they re-sign or extend Desumnu, assuming they make wise decisions elsewhere. Like, they're positioned pretty well. We'll see what they do with being positioned pretty well, because the history of it is not super encouraging. But I don't hate this deal like everyone else seems to. I think Josh Giddey is a solid player. You just got to optimize him, and optimizing him is difficult and maybe impossible given this franchise's history. But I think this deal's largely fine for both parties. Okay, on to other stuff. Bill Simmons, you are one of the great proponents of international basketball. You have correctly pointed out its value to playing for... No, you've correctly pointed out like the value of playing for Team USA. You've been aghast at certain players passing on the experience of playing with their greatest possible peers under the pressure of like win or it's a complete failure. So this is going to be a fun exercise. I want to pick the Olympic team for 2028. You ready?
It's a little far away. I was surprised to get the text, but also delighted because for me, it's not too far away. I love thinking about this stuff. I have to. Well, can I just give you my theory, or do you want to wait until you drop your team?
No, I want your theory.
I don't think anyone over 30 should be on the team.
Okay, well, I'm going to have
it's a controversy. No, I know you. Yeah, I know you're going to have some problems. I just think if I was in charge, if I was the czar of the NBA, I would have nobody, like maybe even 28. But 30 would be the cutoff for me because I would want younger guys to get the experience. I think it would mean more to them anyway. I think it's better for them as basketball players. And I just think like what happened, I know it was super fun to have Curry and Durant and LeBron and in France. But I just think that experience is more meaningful if it's young guys who haven't done a ton of stuff yet. Doing that on the biggest stage possible. I think it's better for the league. I don't think it's just to run it back with guys who have already had all these great moments. I don't think is necessarily helpful for the state of basketball. So that's my case.
So I think my team might actually meet your 30 and under criteria by accident.
That sounds great. Okay.
Here's why we're doing this. Eurobasket's going on, and we know Wembanyama's not playing, but we know the teams that are coming for Team USA in 2028 in LA. Had a couple close calls in 2024 with Serbia and France. And the Redeem team just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, the 2008 Olympic team. So it's been on my mind. I think it's an interesting thought exercise to fast forward 2.5 years and pick this team. And my rule for you and for me was no Curry, no Durant, no LeBron. 12-man team. So I will start.
Didn't have them anyway.
Well, I thought about like if Durant, who loves Team USA, and Curry was so sensational, they'll be like 39, 40 by this time, the same age as LeBron was. LeBron is too old. If you want to like reserve a spot for one of those guys, if they want to do it, I don't hate that, but I'm just saying for the thought exercise, they're out. So
guys, move on. Give it to the younger people. Pass the baton. That would be my advice to the old guys. Anyway.
So I want to start it like this. In the past 5 Olympics, the U.S. has carried basically 3 traditional or semi-traditional big men and 9 guards or wings. I stuck to the 3 bigs format. Okay. And here's where I want to start with you and I revealing our rosters. I have 4 holdovers from the 2024 team on my 2028 team. How many do you have?
Let's see. Was Paolo on the 24 team?
No.
Halliburton was. Edwards. I have 2.
All right, here are my 4. Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, benched Jason Tatum. He gets another chance. And Devin Booker. You have no Booker, no Tatum, so you went even younger than I did.
Yes.
Okay.
And I on behalf of all Celtic fans and Jason Tatum, no thanks to the Olympics experience after what you did to me last time. Good luck. Good luck. We'll be rooting for you from afar.
I'm calling him back. I'm saying this is your chance. This is your chance, Jason Tatum. Okay, so I'll just reveal.
Can you do a starting? Can we do starting 5s?
I didn't even do a starting 5. You do your starting 5. That's a good way to do it. You do a starting 5, and I'll tell you what I think and who's on my team. Starting 5.
Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton as the backcourt. We're assuming Tyrese Halliburton will come back at 100%. I love both of those guys. Edwards probably will be the face of this team, and then Halliburton as probably the best reliable point guard that we're going to have in 2028, I would guess. I have Paolo. I have Jalen Williams, who at that point will probably be a 4-time NBA champion, and we'll want him on there as the second best guy. And then Cooper Flagg was the first guy I wrote down. He's the absolute perfect Olympics guy. He'll care the most. You can play small ball 5 with him, or he can play the 4, he can play the 3. He can guard everybody. He can shoot threes. He is probably the best international player we've produced for a tournament like this in a while. Maybe since Durant.
I wonder if you are 5 for 5 for players on my 12-man roster. So I wonder if we're going to go 10 for 12. And so I'm just now going to read you.
I have 2 guys you will not have.
Okay, I'm interested to hear. Let me tell you my full team, and we'll see.
Yep.
And then we'll get into the theory of the team and omissions and stuff like that.
Do you like that starting five, or is there somebody else you would put in there? Because Flag, Palo, Jalen Williams,
I love
Halliburton, Edwards. I have shooting. I have a couple one-on-one guys. I have defense. I can basically switch with anybody. And I just like that five.
And you can fly up and down the floor, which is how Team USA plays. Pace,
Yes.
pace, pace. With the starting bigs were Paolo and Flag.
Yeah. But you're going smaller internationally anyway. How many centers do I actually have to worry about?
So
Wemby's 35 feet from the rim, and Jokic will probably be, riding horses somewhere, not playing.
So I did think about like I need a Jokic. I need something for Jokic and Wembanyama. But I'll just give you my full team because we're 5 for 5 so far. I told you my 4 holdovers: Halliburton, Booker, Edwards, and Tatum. I also have Jalen Williams, Oklahoma City Jalen Williams, and I also have Paolo Banchero. The switchability, I think the shooting will come. He's had Team USA experience. He's a great international player. I also have,
what is he? He's 22 right now?
yeah, he's
So he'll be
perfect.
26. He's right in the vortex.
I have Cooper Flag, so we got all that covered. J-Dub is, what else can you say? He can shoot, he can defend, he's huge, he can play fast. He's just he's a great player in any setting. We don't need to discuss J-Dub.
Four-time champion.
Yeah,
in
four-time
2028.
champion, won a championship with a wrist injury, the whole thing. Okay, here's the guy that I think the established star player that just has to be on the team and is going to be in the thick of his prime I have Donovan Mitchell. Do you have Donovan Mitchell?
Did not have Donovan Mitchell.
Wow, okay.
I think he'll be in it. Won't he be in his 30s at this point? I don't think he made my cutoff. No, I think he will because he's like 20, 28 or 29 right now. Right?
This is ageism.
What? It sure is. He's 29 right now. He'd be 33. Too old. Get out of here, Donovan Mitchell. You're not invited.
Okay, well,
All right,
okay.
keep going.
I have him. And I'll give you my other 2 big men. And I'm a little nervous that I don't have a post defender to deal with Jokic or Wembanyama, and maybe I need to address that. But I have Banchero as one big. Then I have Chet Holmgren
Yes, I had him as well.
and Evan Mobley.
I had him as well.
Okay. Now
Did you kick the tires on a Donovan Clingan?
No, the tires were
no
not
no
even,
tires nothing.
Tires were not even. The tires
there
are not
a-
on the car.
Was there an old school center defender that you at least looked in the garage at?
I'm trying to. Old school, I don't know, but I think there's a case to be made to bring back AD or Bam for another Team USA run for exactly this reason. I looked at there are some interesting, what if Derek Lively goes crazy in the next 2 years or Jalen Duren goes crazy? Somebody loosely associated with Team USA brought up Jared Allen to me. Jaren Jackson Jr. was a disaster the last time he was on Team USA.
I need
so he's out.
rebounds. I don't need your 3 rebounds in a 40-minute game.
So I've now covered 10 guys: Halliburton, Booker, Ant, Tatum, Mitchell, J-Dub, Chet, Mobley, Banchero. I have 2 spots left. I have one guy that I'm absolutely passionate about. Has to be on my team. I'm picking him now. It's early. Has to be on my team. Amen Thompson is going to the Olympics in 2028.
I had him as well.
Can you imagine what this guy's going to be doing in 2028? He's going to rebound, run, defend every position. You put him out there with a center who can shoot. He's going to screen roll. He's just going to create. Can you imagine these international guards trying to make layups over Amen Thompson? They're not even going to know what to do.
Yeah, at the very least, he's in the Doberman spot coming off the bench where they're just the pack of Dobermans come in just flying around like crazy and just scaring the hell out of everybody. You would think because I had another guy for that you probably don't have, but I had a whole plan for when they bring in the guys flying around side. He has to be involved in that. And by the way, if he learns how to shoot, he might be a starter on this team.
Yeah,
right?
I like that he's in. He's automatic. And by the way,
he was automatic for me.
He's very much on Team USA's radar for this. I will say my last spot, I could have gone a bunch of different directions. You have established first team, second team All-NBA player Jalen Brunson. You have first-time All-NBA player, young rising superstar Cade Cunningham. You have fourth big to deal with Jokic and Wembanyama. You have the potential, do I just need a knockdown shooter? Just one, just like Desmond Bane, Trey Murphy III, Cam Johnson, just knockdown three-point shooter. I went with, I'm just going to take the most versatile, great player out of those who can defend a lot of positions. I went Cade Cunningham over Jalen Brunson, which is going to make Knicks fans angry.
Interesting. Did not make my list.
All right, so give me your full team.
Well, so I had Flag, Paolo, Jalen Williams, Halliburton, Edwards as the starting five. Holmgren and Mobley have to be on there, so that's 7. Amen Thompson had to be 8. And then after that, I tried to make a basketball team because
I think I made a basketball team.
No, I'm just saying, like, I tried to make a team where some guys might not play that much. Some guys are going to be maybe a little happy to be there. Some guys are just like in that young and hungry, I can't believe I'm 21 and I'm on the Olympic spot. The one weakness I had was trying to figure out, do you just need a second, like, pure ball handler? So you have the Cade in that spot. I decided not to do that. Trey Murphy was my 9th guy.
I love it. I think he's going to get a look. If he continues to shoot like this at this volume, at his size, I think he's going to get a look.
I'm betting on the upside. I think he's going to keep improving year after year. I think both you and I love him. I think he's like one of the most underrated assets in the league, and he's been in the stupidest situation basketball wise, probably of, any player like this. And I just think that's the kind of guy you have to have. So he's almost in that like Carmelo, Durant, come off the bench, just start firing 25 footers and you're going to change the defense. That's 9. I put Kason Wallace on my team.
Oh my! I love this. He's on my like very long. I have this like long list of 50 names. He's on there. Doberman,
so
the Doberman thing.
I wanted him in my group where the guys that come off the bench and people are like, oh my God, they've unleashed the hounds, and they're just, it's him, it's Amen Thompson, it's Mobley. Maybe you keep Jalen Williams out there for a little bit, and we're just flying around like maniacs. And I think you have to have that with Team USA. I also think it's a bet on him what he's going to be like over the next couple of years because you figure Lou Dort and Caruso, I don't think they have both of those guys 2 years from now. The second apron makes it impossible. He's going to keep getting big minutes in big games. I think he'll have to handle the ball a little more as the years pass, and maybe he could be my second ball handler. I would rather have that than Darius Garland because we've seen over and over again the offense, no defense point guards like Brunson, whoever, usually get kind of shoved out because you need defense and shooting when we get to like the last 3 rounds.
This is why Brunson is ultimately cut for me. If you look at these teams, they generally can stomach in the end, in the real games that matter, one offense first, slight defensive liability, maybe undersized guard. That's it. Just one gets to play.
It's been the flaw of these teams going back to the disastrous 04 with the Iverson, Steve Francis, whoever the Marbury. Was it 2 or 3 of those guys? It was Marbury and Iverson.
I've blocked out the 2004 Olympics. By the way, can I just say one thing about Kason Wallace? Yeah. I did like a very early most improved player look last week. He's one of the most interesting players to me because I think he's got a lot in there to kind of break defensively. Absolute monster. It's just a matter of like how much is he going to really get to show. But I got my eye on him and I like that pick. All right, so you got 2 more guys.
Were you doing that with your wife? Who were you doing that most improved thing? Who were you batting that around with? Like somebody on one of the other
someone in the
parents
Ringer
in the
podcast network
suburbs?
who I just completely forgot about. Maybe Goldsberry? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, listen, they have to figure out how to have him handle the ball more so it's not just SGA and Jalen Williams next year. And I'm sure that's on the priority list for them, which would be good for our team. Okay, my 11th guy. I rarely do this. I guarantee this guy is going to actually be on the team in 2028. That's how strongly I feel about this person. Con Knipple.
Wow. Wow. You're flat. You are guaranteeing.
I'm guaranteeing he will be one of the 12 guys in 2028. He's perfect for international basketball. Can play multiple positions. Can switch on defense. Knows where to go and what to do. Like very Derek White-ish. Just kind of knows how to fit in with other guys and can shoot. And I think I'm just betting on in 3 years, it will make complete sense that he's on the team. And he just checks so many boxes for the international thing. He won't care if he plays that much. He'll be ready if you need him. He has insurance at the swing spots. He can rebound. He's the kind of guy that would be on like I don't know, Serbia or Lithuania, and you'd be like, God, that guy's killing us. We can't. How does he have 12 rebounds and 4 threes? So he's a must for me. He has to be on.
I absolutely. I mean, that is so out of left field. I didn't even think about Concan. He also went to the right university, attended the right university for this. I can't
this
even
ties
wait.
into like, I want young guys near the end of my bench because those are the guys that aren't going to be like, I can't believe I'm not playing. It becomes a huge story like Tatum style. If like we're not playing Devin Booker because Kason Wallace is playing, I don't want to deal with that. I want my 9, 10, 11, 12 to be happy to be there and ready to contribute.
I
just
can't.
8 guys in these things.
I can't wait to hear your last guy is. It could be any every American NBA player is now on the board of possibilities for me.
Yeah, I could give you 100 guesses and you're not going to guess.
All right, can I get 5 guesses? 5?
Sure. Yeah. We can play 20 questions. You can keep asking me questions.
We play that in the car sometimes.
This, by the way, I also think this guy, that my 12th guy, I think is going to be on the team.
I'm gonna get 5 guesses. So I'm gonna go wild with some guesses. But
Okay.
Brandon Pajemski.
No, he didn't make my list.
Okay. I got to remember under 30.
Why don't you do 20 questions and actually ask me questions?
Okay. Is he going to be a rookie this season in the NBA?
He's not.
Does he play in the Eastern Conference?
He does not.
Has he played in the NBA playoffs?
He is not. You're getting warmer.
All right, let me bring up.
How about this? Is he an NBA player? He's not.
Is he going to be in college this year?
He will be in college this year.
The BYU kid.
Nope, not invited. Can't. We're not positive he could shoot yet.
You're
getting warm.
Who? Just give me the name.
So Darren Peterson, who's going to Kansas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He is the number 1 high school player this year, and just from all accounts, he's Kobe, like the Kobe prototype of just like these 6'5" Booker, like guard with size, does everything, plays both ends, and I think he gets the Edwards spot in 2028. Because if you had said in 2020, Anthony Edwards will be on the 2024 Olympic team, you'd have been like, what? That's crazy. That seems really fast. Why would he? I just think they always have a guy like this on the team, and I think that's going to be the guy. Because everyone is like, this guy has it. This guy absolutely has it. This is the best 2 guard we have produced, at least since Edwards, and maybe even better than Edwards. And it just seems like the kind of guy they would put on because 4 years from now they would want him to be one of the leaders of the team. So that's my last pick.
Let me tell you, if you get one of those 3 last guys on Team USA, that's a W. If you get 2,
I think I go 2 for 3 with those.
Wallace,
the Kason Wallace thing, like, because the thing with him is that he might. I mean, he's also a trade candidate for them, right? Is he even on OKC in 2028? Is he on like freaking wherever? Is he on like Minnesota or I don't know?
I think he's going to be good enough that they view him as like, this is the other guy we got to keep. Do you have anyone you'd like to issue apologies to?
Yeah.
Or any other sort of like way off the beaten path candidate you considered? Because I have a couple of those too.
Well, what are yours? Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily apologizing to them. It's just interesting to me, and it goes to the small guard thing, that none of Trae Young, Tyrese Maxey, or De'Aaron Fox even came up. Part of that is age for you in some cases, but they're just like, they're on my list, and no.
So Maxey was my toughest cut.
Pace. He's one of mine too.
Pace, ball handling. If there's some sort of pressure situation where we're in like the team I picked, where we're like, God damn, why do we have Kason Wallace as our backup point guard? Why don't we have like somebody who can handle the ball? I also think with Maxey, it is possible he's one of the best 7-8 guys in the league 2 years from now, right? I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying, like, it's conceivable, right, that he could be a 27 a game, 8 assists, best guy on a playoff team. So that was the toughest one for me because I don't know what his career is going to look like 2 years from now. Cade, to me, I really liked Cade last year, but internationally I worry about that one.
It was a tough one for me too because he's not going to – it's the classic problem with all of like even Jaylen – well, not Jaylen Brown necessarily. I thought about Jaylen Brown too as like hey, sorry we snubbed you last time. He's not going to have the ball as much, and his shooting is just okay. I did look up, though. He hit 39% on catch-and-shoot threes last year, 37% the day before. You throw him into closer FIBA 3. Like, I'm betting on his upside.
My other tough cut was Lively. I really did look at him.
There you go. See, we
both
that's
had another one. Yeah, that was another one where I was trying to project how much better somebody would be 2 years from now. And what do I think will happen with this team? I think AD will be on it. I think Booker will be on it. I think Tatum will be on it. And I think if Curry wanted to be on it, Curry's going to be on it. Durant gets a little dicier because Durant at that point will have been in the NBA 21 years. And it's not like he's this beloved icon in the same way LeBron is. You would have the case of like, well, this will cement him as the greatest U.S. international player ever. He might already be that. I just find it hard to believe with the body that he has in 2028 that he's still going to be, still going to be able to move in the same way. He's 7 feet tall. He's had major injuries all over the place. I'm just skeptical.
We're moving on. I'm moving on and building my team. I mentioned the knockdown shooters that I considered. You put one of them on, and Trey Murphy. MPJ. How about this?
MPJ.
More likely to be on Team USA 2028.
Yeah.
Ready? More likely. Yep. We didn't have either of them. John Morant or Zion Williamson?
Oh, my God. Probably, I would say Zion.
I think it's actually Zion.
Yeah, what happens if Zion has this amazing career turnaround and becomes one of the best guys in the league and just figures it out? I just don't think Ja's game lends itself to international at all. He's a battering ram. You can't have that internationally.
A couple under the radar guys that I looked at. Christian Brown.
I had him written down. I thought that was so he'd have to go up one level from where we saw last year, which I thought he was pretty good. But there's other more guys I like more in that spot, but he's also young enough that it's not inconceivable, right? I don't mind that one.
I'm just saying these are guys that are on my list of like 52 guys. That's the amount of guys on the list. If the shooting went up another notch, would Jaden McDaniels get a look for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like, and then one of those like the bring off the bench. I had one more like that. I mean, this is a deep cut. It's ridiculous. The odds are 200 to 1, but Tari Eason.
I like that.
If he jumped up 9 levels, could he be one of the guys coming off the bench that you just release like maniacs?
You just take him and Thompson off like what they do with the Rockets. Just do that. Do that for Team USA.
Just do that. Do the thing where you're just like, go take the ball from the other team. I had another one that was a deep, deep, deep cut that you're gonna laugh. Is Peyton Pritchard like inconceivable as the 12th man for the shooting and just
nothing's
ball
inconceivable?
Handling, not be able to play, not caring if he plays.
You put a high school kid and Con Knipple on the team. Nothing is inconceivable.
Yeah.
He's more
10, 11, 12. I want people who are so delighted to be there.
He'll take heaves too. He doesn't care about his field goal percentage. He'll take heaves.
How about this? Who's the most ridiculous? There's no way this guy makes it. Name that actually kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Michael Porter Jr., Brandon Miller.
Michael Porter did not make my list. I thought the Brandon Miller upside thing. I had
Tyler Hero.
Nemhard.
He's Canadian.
I had Nemhard, forgetting that he was Canadian.
I mean,
but I was thinking,
it is unlikely. It's unlikely that he will make Team USA.
Well, I was trying to think who is the Derek White. Because 4 years ago, I wouldn't have said Derek White was going to be on Team USA. But who is like the glue guy? I kind of do everything well. Everyone likes playing with me. That's kind of where I landed on Knipple, but I didn't know who the guard version of that was.
Well, that's why I had Pajemski on my list. Jalen Suggs is,
had him written down as well.
This was like a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be to build this team and try to make it somewhat of a reasonable basketball team and think about Wembanyama and think about Jokic. Because if Jokic plays in 2028, like this is going to be a pretty epic Olympics because France is only going to get better. There are other teams that are going to get better, and Jokic is could still be the best player in the world. Is probably likely to be the best player in the world at that.
Well,
time.
that's why your Jared Allen suggestion was kind of boring, but also not crazy, because you might just need a sturdy guy like that. If you're looking around and there's 3 countries with centers that we're going to have to figure out how to slow down a little bit.
I mean, it's the one game we actually needed Embiid to play and play well in. I just wrote him off as I can't project Joel Embiid to be healthy enough to play the 2028 Olympics at his age at that time too.
Joel was not on my list.
Paul George. All right, this was fun.
Paul George was not on my list. Did you look under the hood at Mikal Bridges at all?
He's one of my 52 players. Yeah,
Okay.
I just am more excited about some of these other names.
Did you think about Aaron Gordon for a split second?
I did. I thought about him for more than a split second in that sort of if Cooper Flag isn't ready somehow, Aaron Gordon, Jalen Johnson, Swiss Army knife, just do a little bit of everything. He's going to be on the older side by then. I think over 30.
Yeah,
and just
that's why he left off for me.
The leg injuries the last couple of years. I'm just take the summer off.
I'm glad you mentioned Jalen Johnson, because he's another guy you would mark down as he might be in a different spot in a better way career-wise 2 years from now. Where 2 years from now, I'll be like, oh, he's got to be on the team, because we haven't seen the full healthy season from him on a good team, and I think the Hawks are a team we both really like.
This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing this more. Before I let you go, is there any NBA take you just want to get off amidst the NFL focus? Is there anything on your mind this morning?
On NBA?
Yeah.
What am I going to do with my Clippers tickets? That's probably it. That's the only one. If Kawhi's contract gets voided and they can't replace him, and I wasn't that excited about the rest of the team anyway, yeah.
All bets are off.
That's something.
Yeah.
It still feels like about 2 weeks early to think about the NBA in a real way, but there are a couple teams I'm starting to get excited about. And I've also I got to be honest, I've been involved in some Celtics text conversations about what we're actually going to expect from this team. Ooh. Whether this is a throwaway year. There's a camp in Celtics Nation that we have our own pick. Let's toss it. Let's just toss the season away.
The season?
Let's come up with a fake injury for Jaylen Brown. Let's just do this correctly. I just think, as I've said many times, Missoula is a maniac, and I don't see him ever doing that.
Well, look, we'll have a lot of time to talk about NBA stuff. We got some interesting things planned. Go back to your regularly scheduled football programming. Thank you, Mr. Simmons. All right, it's time for a mopey little walk around Mets corner. Big Wos, here's where we are. 76-70, 5 straight losses. Clinging, trying to hold off the 74 and 72 Cincinnati Reds and the 74 and 72 San Francisco Giants. Some days when the hitting's been on fire, the pitching's been a problem. Then the pitching was on fire, the hitting was a problem, and then now they both don't work. I don't know what's going on, man. It's not going great right now on Mets corner.
It's just Mets stuff. A buddy of mine coined them the New York mess years ago. And whenever things are going bad, that phraseology just comes into my head, the New York mess doing it again. And if you've been following this franchise long enough, you know that moments like this are never too far around the corner, right? I mean, just in recent history, the LCS against St. Louis, where Beltran strikes out, this would have been, 2006?
Something
I believe.
That. Adam Wainwright.
Yeah. Beltran strikes out looking, never even picks the bat off of his shoulder. 2007 collapse. We fire Willie Randolph. We bring in my guy, Jerry Manuel. We're up 7 games with 17 to go in the NL East. We lose on the last day of the season, blow a lead to the Florida Marlins. This is 2008. I mean, The one that pisses me off the worst is the World Series loss, of course, to Kansas City, where like we were legitimately a better team than them. And this freaking guy, La Familia, could not get an out ever. I mean, that's the one that like sticks in my craw the most. I have a vivid memory of sitting in this bar. Oh my God, what was this freaking bar called? It was like a cross between like a restaurant, like a British pub in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn on Bedford Ave. I forget, Black Swan, that's what it was called. I'm sitting in Black Swan just watching La Familia melt down, and the game is on, and like it's Brooklyn, like Bed-Stuy, a bunch of hipsters. None of these people really even care about what's going on, and I'm just sitting in my seat, seething around these people who just really couldn't care less. Just Mets collapse after Mets collapse, but yeah, this one is starting to feel like Jerry Manuel and those boys, David Wright and Carlos Delgado and plucky little Daniel Murphy and Jose Reyes and all of these guys. Johan Santana was our best pitcher that year. Just, oh my God. Unbelievable.
So the kids are great. Like McLean's been very good.
Yeah.
The ball is just doing crazy stuff, like moving sideways. Yeah. Sproat made his debut there. They was fine. Looked pretty good. Tong is pitching tonight. I think he's been pretty good. When they're not pitching, it's like I'll turn on the game in the second inning, and it's just I'm just expecting it to be 3-0. Like it's 3-0. Oh, Holmes is throwing 52 pitches and has no outs in the third inning. It's just every freaking game with these guys. Holmes, Manaea, I don't know what the hell happened to him. And if you had it's the starting pitching just hasn't been good enough. The Mets are 16th in ERA. They're actually 5th in OPS. Like their offense has been awesome. Yeah. Soto is just Soto. I will say, he hit a solo home run last night to pull the Mets within 9-2, I think, in the ninth inning. I could deal without the celebration and like pointing to the outfield. I could do without. You know what else I could do? And then Brandon Nimmo after the game. Did you see Nimmo's quote after the game?
What did he say?
Something to the effect of, John Heyman has it, there are a lot of teams hoping we don't make the playoffs. There are definitely teams that don't want to see us on the other side. Look, man, how about win a game? How about win a game, man?
How could you not want to see the team that started 45-24, Zach?
I know, best record in baseball.
This season was on its way to being one for the ages. First of all, like a lot of times I'm not in a position to watch the games, and I get the freaking The Athletic. They send me the alert because I'm following the Mets on the Athletic app, and it's like another Mets win, I'm like, this is insane. The Mets can't lose, and then I'll inevitably rewatch the game or rewatch highlights or whatever the case may be, and then for basically 6 weeks now, it's been pure chaos and misery.
And you know what though? Like this is like I'm glad to be a fan again. It's been so much fun, and like the pain and the anger and the agony, like that's all part of it. Like a part 100%. Of my soul has been relit by all of this. And look, they're still in the playoffs. Just like hang on, you get in, you never know what happens. There's a lot of talent on the team, but it's just like they can't get every part of the team going at once.
I know.
Apparently, this Gilbert guy they traded to the Giants for the sidearm reliever is playing well. Did you see Helsley come in the other day and throw a scoreless inning against Philly? He did.
Listen, man, it's such a chaotic. The season is just so chaotic. Even down to, you mentioned Soto, how he started so horribly, and then of course there's the memes on the internet, and he's lost his powers the second he goes across town to the Mets, and he's having a good season. Like this guy's smacking home runs, damn near every other day. And then you have the insane hot streaks. It's just, I don't know, it just kind of feels like a microcosm of what it's like to be a Mets fan over the years. And for me, it's fun even when we're getting our asses kicked, because the only two teams I really care about anymore at all in professional sports are the Mets and the Jets. Where the Jets, there is no hope. There's There's no idea that you're going to go to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl or even win your division. Or, when you're the Jets, you face Tom Brady for 20 years in your own division, right? You watch your division rival win 6 Super Bowls, right? And you make it to we make it to the AFC Championship game 3 times in that span, right? Whereas the Mets is like, no, you go to World Series, lose Subway Series to, Roger Clemens and all these, freaking snake-ass Yankees. Like, you lose to Kansas City. You get to the LCS last year. Like, the Mets actually give you hope all the time. That's the thing about this team. And then, of course, you go to Citi Field, and there's the atmosphere and the camaraderie of, like, just shared love and belief of the team. Last year, the day they got to the LCS, I was actually in New York City. I was at this guy named Big X The Plug. He had some listening event, and I was at his listening event, and it was like a cool little thing. And I left as soon as I can to watch the ending of that Mets playoff game. And Zach, would you believe that I shed a tear that night?
I believe it.
Because the freaking Mets got to the LCS. Because they scrapped their way, they went on this incredible streak at the end of the season, and all the craziness with the mascot and all the craziness happening around the team. I was like, no other thing in sports can make me feel this way. So while this season has tried its best to destroy my summer, I'm remaining hopeful. I'm happy enough, bro.
Well, I'm going to Old Timers Day. They call it Alumni Game now on Saturday at Citi Field.
Wow.
So I'm hoping we win a game between now and then. Maybe extend this cushion for the third wild card.
What time is
spot.
that game?
The alumni game, they're doing Team Shea, so they got a bunch of shit. Jay Payton is playing. Benny Agbayani's involved. Turk Wendell filmed a promo for social media.
God.
They're doing Team Shea versus Team City, and you're supposed to be there by 2 to see that game.
God.
And then the real game is at 4 against the Rangers. DeGrom is slated to pitch that game, I think. Soto up to 4th in OPS, by the way. Judge, Ohtani, George Springer, Soto.
That's crazy.
And he has 30 steals. 31 steals. No one
He's
saw
having
that
a
coming.
monster season. He's doing everything that we could have possibly hoped for. And the idea would be that we would unleash this guy in the postseason. Jesus Christ, they need to hold on to this.
Can you, I was going to say, if they choke this away with this payroll and this offseason hype,
my God,
that's like a DEFCON 1 level choke job. And I don't know enough about how baseball teams behave in the offseason after things like that and who gets fired or whatever. Or it would make me think does that mean they just let Alonso walk and start going around young guys plus Soto? What does it mean for Lindor? Because if this team can't win 83 games or 84 games to get into the playoffs, they can't hold off the Reds and the Giants, who are mediocrity. The Mets are a mediocrity. If this is just what they are, I don't know. What do you do in the offseason? This is sad.
I don't think so. I think you gotta roll the dice again, and management can just pitch it as just a bad break and everything not coalescing in the right way. So it's just so funny. I had to look this up today. I was I forgot who our general manager was.
Stearns.
In 2008,
then.
It was Omar Minaya, who came in with this incredible reputation, and then of course left in disgrace, as many, met upper management guys end up doing. I don't think they'll blow it up. There's so much obvious talent on the team. I know the point of this is to win. I just can't believe that they won't turn this around in time to just make the freaking postseason, guys. Jesus Christ. This isn't, the 1920s where you had to win the whole freaking league to get to the playoffs, bro. Make the postseason.
And the highs and lows of this, of being, I forgot. So it's Thursday. 6 days ago, Friday night, my wife and I went into the city to meet up with a couple friends over we had some cocktails at a cool bar called, I can't remember what the bar was called. It was a cool bar. Went out to a little food, and we got done with dinner, and my daughter was at a sleepover, so no childcare necessary. And like, it's only like 9:45. Like, let's keep it rolling. I don't got to get on the train back to suburbia loserdom just yet. We walk into Park Avenue Tavern on 39th Street because it's near Grand Central. All the TVs at the bar, every single TV is either U.S. Open or Yankees game. I'm like 3 drinks in. I go to the bartender. I'm like, hey, man, can you just give me like that TV?
Mets, please?
It's the 9th inning. Can you just give me one TV? He switches like the main TV to the Mets game. I did not ask for that. The woman next to me is intent on watching the tennis. Her angles now, she's like literally asking the bartender, like, who told you to do that? Who asked you to do that? Why'd you switch off to US Open? I'm like, the US Open's all over there. And they switched it just in time for Diaz to get out of the bases loaded jam in the first game in the 9th inning. And I'm like, yeah, we're 11 games over 500. We're back. Like, what a great job by Diaz. We can bury these guys with one more win in this series. Flash forward 6 days. They haven't won a goddamn game since. And I'm sitting here thinking about what happens if we choke this away. I forgot what this is like. That woman was mad, by the way. I was like, look, it's the 9th inning. They'll switch it back on in like 5 minutes. You think Alcaraz is going to lose to this dude from Canada or Sinner or whoever was playing the number 25 seed? We know how the match is going to end. Settle down.
That was a fun match, actually. I caught some of that. Look, last season, I think, was such a high and did feel, a level of it did feel like a magic carpet ride. You know, and then you sign Soto in the offseason, and it's like, okay, like now it's time to take that step forward. And so, again, man, as a Mets fan, like this kind of disappointment, I'm kind of been steeled to. I'm used to it, and I'm not gonna give up hope that things can turn around. It's just I'm not gonna be completely shocked if we get overtaken by the Cincinnati freaking Reds. Like, this is just the reality of how things tend to go around here. But man, you just inspired me. I have to be out in actually I won't even say. I'll tell you after we get off. But I have to be somewhere on Friday. And I'm spending the night over there, but I might be able to make it back to Queens in time to old timers there. I need to make some phone calls.
Hey, if you do, let me know. By the way, this is what's happening in my life. I made through a buddy of mine, I made my first venture into enemy territory on Tuesday night for Yankees Tigers.
I've still never been, and I'm never going. I refuse.
I went, and they were giving away. We sat in really good seats, and they were giving away when you walked in a sweatshirt. And I just was like, no, I'm like a little hoodie. I was like, no, I'm good. And the woman was like, take it. You have to take it. It's free. And I'm like, first of all, I don't have to take anything. Like, you know, like I cannot take the sweatshirt. She's like, no, it's free. Don't you understand? I'm giving it to you. I'm like, yeah, don't you understand? I don't want the fucking Yankee sweatshirt. And then my wife was like, come on, we have some friends who are Yankees fans. Just take it. And I'm holding it like a bag of dog poop, like carrying it around. Like, so I don't want this. And my wife likes it because it's soft. And I'm like, that's fine. Don't wear it around me. And she said, what if I black out the NY? I'm like, I'll still know. But it's a nice stadium. It's a little antiseptic, but it's not as nice as Citi Field. It was nice. And I got to see an all-time Yankees meltdown. They lost 12-2.
That's awesome.
And the Tigers scored 8 runs in 1 inning without committing an out. There was a wild pitch, a passed ball, 2 bases loaded walks. I wasn't cheering. I was just observing. It was nice. But it was a fun game to see.
I love the one of the few joys of my baseball life is that the Yankees have not won a World Series since my guy A-Rod delivered for them in the postseason. They hated, we hate A-Rod, he's so terrible, blah, blah, blah. Last time they won, A-Rod delivered it for them. So it's a great joy for me.
We got a big weekend coming up. Let's get this win tonight against Philly. You know, I mean, our playoff odds are 83%. That feels like a lot, and it feels like
a lot.
It feels like it's crumbling, but there have been other times where it's felt like it's crumbling and they've rebounded and gone on random winning streaks. But man, this has been a frustrating. So, Helsley, I mentioned.
Before we get off Mets corner, I want to ask you about the unofficial, unannounced retirement of Ben Simmons. Where are you at on that?
I mean,
how will you remember the Ben Simmons NBA career, bro?
I mean,
he's done after his rookie extension, Zach Lowe.
Yeah,
That's insane.
he was done the moment he passed the ball against the Hawks. I mean, that was the end, and you could see it trending the year before. The year they lost to the Raptors in 7 games. I wrote a story during that series. I interviewed him about how he had been kind of like relegated to just standing around the dunker spot because Butler and Embiid were doing everything. And it was very clear that they were like, we don't quite know what to do with you, but you're the number 1 pick. You're afraid to get fouled. You're starting to foul shooting starting to become an issue. And then it just spiraled from there. And like, I don't have any reaction to it. It's obviously sad. Like, he had real back injuries. Those are a real thing. That's not a made up thing. That affected his game. But the mental stuff was just obvious. And like, you asked me for my reaction. I'm not making light of it that I kind of just stopped thinking about Ben Simmons. When he got to the Clippers last year, you would have people like, oh man, he could really help them off the bench. He's going to be a backup center. I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it because I just know what's going to happen. He's going to have like 2 good games, then he's going to be afraid to get fouled, and he's not going to play in the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm not surprised no one has really expressed any interest in signing him.
Crazy NBA story, dude.
The whole I mean, we don't need to get into like, is it crazier than Markelle Fultz? It's like the 4th craziest Sixers process story behind Colangelo and Fultz. Do you have any reaction, or you like?
No,
why do you ask?
For me, I can't like. It's just I've been saying Ben Simmons would not make it past his rookie extension for a while. I'm talking about like early on. I'm like, this dude isn't going to make it, and just having it come to fruition is just. I just can't remember a story like this. Like, you know, when he got drafted, I'm not kidding. Like, he was in the same breath as LeBron as a rookie. Like, the idea of a dude this big and this skilled on the ball and this savvy in terms of his court vision and all of this stuff, athleticism, and to see him get to this point and, you know, just personally, like, just all the stories that you hear about Ben Simmons personally, it's like, man, this is not going to turn around in terms of like his approach to NBA basketball. It's just kind of crazy. It's just crazy to me. Like, I saw a clip yesterday where somebody was like, yo, Ben Simmons isn't going to get signed. He's out of the NBA. And I'm just like, man, that is so, what a crazy, what's it been, 9 years?
Yeah, let me see what his draft year is. Yeah, it's an all-time, like, strange, how did that happen career. Yeah, it would be interesting to redraft this draft class. Simmons, Ingram, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown would be picked over the first 2 guys, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you got Jamal Murray at 7. Then you got, it's not, Siakam at 27 would be like the 3rd pick in the draft, probably.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's sad. And yeah, I got nothing else to say other than let's go Mets, man. If you make it over there, let me know.
I will.
Let me know.
You got the wheels spinning on this because I'm in New York until Wednesday, so I might have to hit this City versus Shea game. By the way, that's how we closed out Shea Stadium, the 2007 collapse for Mets fans that want to be even more sad about what's going on.
I need to do research on that one because that's in my checked out dark period where I'm just not even paying attention.
That was brutal. That was brutal. And to make matters worse, I think like you always hated the Braves because of their run in the 90s and their level of success and Chipper Jones and all of that stuff. But the Phillies were quickly emerging as more hated than the Braves, easily. So to blow it to the Phillies and their, God, I don't know any Braves fans, to be honest with you. I think I know one Braves fan, Zach Harper. Outside of that, I don't know any of them. I have a lot of Philly people in my life, so I know a lot, I know a lot of Phillies fans, and their fans are just, oh my God. Just think of the Yankee fans without the justified arrogance, and you got the Phillies. And oh my God, it was misery, just misery.
See, I missed the whole like Phillies Mets becoming a real deep
Chase
hatred
Utley
thing
to this day.
But
God, I hate him.
I love the city of Philadelphia. I love their colors. I love the Philly fanatic. I loved the 93 team, I think it was, that lost to the Blue Jays in the World Series with all the long hair and beards and just gross dudes just balling out. And I cheered for them when they played the Yankees in the World Series, obviously, and lost. So I don't mind that. I haven't learned to hate them yet the way I hate the Braves and hate the Yankees. But this is all I'm asking for the Mets. I live it. Everyone here is a Yankees fan. It's like 90% Yankees fans, 8% Mets fans, 2% random where you're from originally fans. I just don't want to walk around embarrassed. Like, I don't want to walk around the neighborhood like, you missed the playoffs, man. You got Soto from us and you missed the playoffs. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So just like, even if you get to the playoffs and lose in one game and you're out, just get to the playoffs. Because I can't live with the offseason of that. All right, Woz, go do group chat. Maybe I'll see you in Queens on Saturdays. Great to see you, bud. Woo! That's it for the Zach Lowe Show today, and probably for this week, unless something else happens. And if Pablo Torre keeps finding stuff out, something else might happen. But if not, we will see you back here in this usual spot on Monday. Thanks to Howard Beck. Thanks to Bill Simmons. Thanks to Big Wos. I'd really like to thank the Mets in advance for winning tonight, maybe. Try that. Thanks to Jesse, Jonathan, and Steve Ceruti on production. See you next week at the Zach Lowe Show. Thank you all for listening and or watching.